Hello there everybody, Sam's Trades here. Welcome back to the railway and welcome back to the model railway news. I hope you're all doing okay. Summer has very much arrived here in the UK now that it's June, but if it's okay with you, I'm going to draw your attention inside for just a second to talk about all of the latest news and product developments from our wonderful industry. So let's get cracking. The first update comes from Accurascale, who have revealed the first engineering prototype of their upcoming Class 50, which is available to pre-order at retailers for £189.99. The new photos show the huge level of detail that this model has to offer, and you can clearly see the separately fitted grills where applicable, the wire handrails, masses of bogie detail by the looks of it, and the highly detailed cabs with separate etched wipers, etched grills on top of the cab even, and they've even provided a sort of comparison between the 50 and the Class 37, and I have to say that both of these models seem to be at the same high standard. They say the next step is to make a few minor tweaks to the design before they move on to the decorated samples. Those will be assessed and then they can start production of the locomotives. The Class 50 is due to arrive in stock for Q4 2023, so potentially these locos will be with us within the next 6 months. And if you'd like to place a pre-order, I've got affiliate links in the description for you. They've also released a new model this month, and you're looking at it now. It is of course the Siphon G, yet another absolutely tremendous model with a truly incredible level of detail for a piece of rolling stock. The next update comes from Dapol, who have made a couple of new announcements in O-scale. The first new announcement was this, the 14-ton slope-sided mineral wagon. They've announced 8 new versions of this model in a variety of different liveries, including some private owner ones, which I think is really cool to see. These are set to feature a die-cast chassis, many separately fitted details, sprung buffers, of course, and proper couplings. The retailer price seems to be fairly reasonable at £51. Affiliate links in the description if you're interested. There's another new wagon announced by Dapol too, and that is this. This is a slightly more complex wagon, the 24-ton steel iron ore hopper. And they've got 7 different versions of this model announced with a similar sort of specification. That includes the die-cast chassis, again, many separately fitted fine details, sprung buffers, couplings, etc. Although this one is a little bit more expensive at £59.50 at the retailers, but then it does seem to be, like I say, a larger and slightly more complex model, so that makes sense. So those are Dapol's new announced O-gauge, but just recently Dapol have released a rather fantastic O-scale loco, the LSWR B4, and I did a review of this loco. If you want to check it out, I'll pop the review in the top corner now. It's an incredible model, folks, one of Dapol's heaviest in O-scale and also one of their most detailed and finessed. The performance is particularly good though, possibly the best of all of their O-scale models I've tried, and it's well worth a look if you're interested. Truly one of Dapol's finest achievements in O-scale, I think. Up next, there's some very interesting new developments from Rapido to talk about, and that's because they've just released some decorated samples of their new Lion locomotive, and we've got 3 different liveries to feast our eyes on this time, rather than just the one that we saw on Hornby. So let's take a look. So this is the first one, which I think is the most similar to Hornby's. This is the Lion in the 1930s condition, and it's clearly the same livery as the one we saw from Hornby, but it looks a little bit more toned down, if you'd ask me. Almost like the saturation has been turned down a little bit on the model, and I think it seems to make the model scale a little bit better, if you ask me. Just looks less like a model and more like the real thing scaled down, because if you Google the real thing, you will see that the colours aren't sort of oversaturated. It is quite a subtle loco where the colour is concerned. So actually, I think that looks really great. The second loco is this, and I really like this one. It's probably my favourite. It's in the 1980s condition, and the greens on this version seem to be more of an olive green than a sort of brighter green, and it's also got the black running plate, which also looks very subtle, makes the loco look incredibly smart. And then the third one, I'm laughing at this, sorry, yeah, it's the Titfield version, and the reds on this loco are incredibly bright, and you've got the artwork on the chimney as well. Now, I'll be honest, I really don't like this. I'm not saying it's necessarily inaccurate, but yeah, those bright reds just make this look like a toy, don't they? Looking at photos of the loco in the film, or excerpts from the film itself, I don't know whether that's just because of the quality of the film, but the reds don't look quite that vibrant. And this one just looks extra, doesn't it? Particularly given the subtlety of the other liveries. Yeah, this one looks particularly garish, but hey, that's probably what they were going for. It's a little bit of a daft film, isn't it? Bit of fun. Maybe the loco was painted so vibrantly. I'm not sure. Comment down below and let me know what you think. Next up then, a very interesting development in the Simon Kohler retirement story. So last month, many players in the model railway press, including me, talked about the retirement of Simon Kohler, who was head of brand at Hornby. In fact, Hornby themselves have more recently released a video dedicated to Simon Kohler, which was entitled Hornby, Simon Kohler Retires from Hornby, which wishes him all the very best in his retirement.
Thank you once again, Mr. Hornby, for everything that you've given here at Hornby, and we wish you all the best in your retirement.
Wow, it sure sounds like Simon is retiring, doesn't it? Nope, Simon himself got in touch to say that this isn't true. It is true that he has left Hornby, he's no longer working there anymore, and he hasn't shared any more details on his departure from Hornby yet, but what he is saying is that he has not retired and that he's returning to his own business named Kohler, which is a model consultancy business basically. In a press release issued by Simon, he stated, dismissing any rumours of retiring, rumours mind you, Simon continued, nothing ever stays the same, and I always said that if I was not enjoying what I was doing, then it would be time for me to leave. Although I had no idea that others were thinking something similar about my future at Hornby. So, reading between the lines there, it sounds as though the decision for Simon to leave was not necessarily made by Simon himself, as it would have been had he actually retired. Sounds as though it came as quite a surprise to him. Anyway, I don't know any more information other than that at the moment. The only thing is that it seems like Hornby want it to sound like Simon has retired, when he's saying that isn't the truth. So, there's a story here, not sure what it is at the moment, but if we learn any more, I'll be sure to let you know. Speaking of Hornby, they have just released some new photos of renders of some of their new models. First of all, the new Salmon wagons that were announced in January, both the YMA and YMO versions. So here are the renders, which do show masses of detail, much of which does appear to be separately fitted, if this is how the models are going to be. They also show the die-cast chassis. Yeah, the blog that Hornby posted does mention that the chassis are die-cast, and there's also tons of detail on here as well. There does seem to be a conspicuous lack of engineering prototypes though, which is perhaps a little bit concerning because these models are due in less than a year's time. So not long to wait on these models. Presumably if these are going to arrive on time, Hornby have got a lot of work to do. But there's more renders to look at. There's also the McCaw Bolster B wagon. Again, some superb looking renders here which really show the detail. Again though, no sign of any early samples or shots from the tooling yet, although they do have a little bit longer to get these ones out as they're not due until summer 2024. No loco news from Hornby this month, but it is great to see that their rolling stock is progressing, albeit rather slowly, but still, be one to watch out for, I think. Finally then, this past month has been quite a big one in terms of new model releases, so I thought I would briefly recap some of the new models that are out and available now. First of all, like I say, we've had the Accurascale Siphon G, great models, check that out if you want to. The Rapido Southern 8-plank wagons are now in stock as well. The Bachmann Ryan from the States, that has been released over the past month as well. That's quite a cool loco if that's what you're interested in. Of course, we've already talked about the B4 that came out just recently. You have the Rapido SECR brake fans. What a wonderful model that was, absolutely incredible. And there's a new batch of Accurascale Chaldron wagons in stock now as well. So lots to go at. I've got my own product launch coming next week. That's going to be the Sam's Trains Era 1 coal wagons, which I've worked really hard on, and I'm very, very pleased with those. So they're going to be launching on Wednesday. They could sell out quite fast again. Most of my previous releases have done. So pop that in your diaries if you don't want to miss out. And I hope you enjoy seeing all of the features and maybe picking some up if that's what you fancy. For now though, that is just about it for all of the model railway news. If I've missed anything out, please do comment down below and let me know, and I will consider giving that a mention next month. For now though, have a great month. I hope you enjoy the weather, although don't neglect your models as you're doing so. I might have been a little bit, but never mind. Have a great month. I'll see you soon. Cheers folks, take care.